Like we said, it's earnings season, and no company is more closely watched than Apple Inc. To give us a preview of today's earnings after the bell, Steve Russolillo, my compatriot on the Market Beat blog.
How's it going?
How are you?
So, Apple.
I
It's
guess,
Apple Day. Aren't you excited? Aren't you
Oh,
pumped?
of course.
Apple
Always
Day.
excited on
Yes.
Apple Day. I guess the only real question is, how badly are they going to trounce the earnings estimates? Really.
Well, we'll see. That's the big
Yeah.
question every quarter, right? What's interesting about this quarter, though, in particular, is that Apple has had so many different product refreshes and announcements over the last month or two, which is really kind of a different strategy from what they've done in previous years. So you had, obviously this week, just the iPad, the mini
That's
iPad.
what we were showing you a second ago there. This was the launch event, the iPad mini. So right, they've had the iPad mini.
They refreshed their Macs. They had the iPhone 5 come at the end of September.
Right.
So a lot of different new products and product refreshes that may not actually show up in this quarter.
In this quarter.
But well, we should say in the third quarter in these results.
Yeah.
But then they will show up in the fourth quarter. So
And it's also, I mean, it's kind of giving some analysts a headache because
Exactly.
now you have to figure out all these new products that you weren't really expecting and how they're going to affect the bottom line.
And we saw that in the previous quarter when actually their iPhone sales were lower than
Right.
analysts were anticipating, but the company said, well, that's because a lot of people were anticipating the new iPhone coming out. So you had the iPhone 5 go on sale the end of September. That last week will help juice sales a little bit, but for those other 2 months of the quarter, though, like people were just waiting for the iPhone 5.
Yeah.
So it's really tough to gauge as to whether, how good those iPhone sales are going to look. Analysts expect about 26 million shipments in the third quarter of the iPhone 5, of the iPhone, which is astounding. But will that exceed expectations?
Right.
Will not? That's the big question.
Do you think some of this is Apple looking over its shoulder?
Well, that's a good question.
Really?
Apple has dominated a lot of these different products for a long time now, but of course with everything, with the Amazon Kindle, with the Google tablet, with the new Microsoft tablet.
Everyone's making a tablet.
Everyone's making a tablet. Everyone's making a new and better smartphone. So yeah, of course, you have to think that the giant is wondering a little bit, what's next. But for now, the stock is still up more than 50% this year. It is down more than 10% since its record high last year. But when you look at the 2012 total, still more than 50% gain for the biggest company on the planet right now. It's just an astounding.
And if you drag that chart out to a year, 5 years, 10 years, I mean, it's astounding.
It's vertical.
But yeah, it's smart for them to look over their shoulder. They should. I
they
mean,
should.
that's what you want to see
Right.
out of the product leader. That's what you want to see if you're an investor. You don't want to see them resting on their laurels.
Yes. Earnings are interesting. So the last time Apple reported, the stock dropped about 5% the day after because the earnings were still great, but didn't meet analyst expectations. So, and again, people are wondering this quarter, is it going to meet or not? And what is the guidance going to look like? Because all these new products that we talked about are all going to show up in the fourth quarter results. So what is that guidance going to look like?
Yeah, and they're still, I mean, I wrote it down. I think their revenue expectation is 38 billion.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
35
a
billion
ton
for a quarter
of money
for
for
the
3
third
months.
quarter. Yeah, exactly.
And earnings, I think it's 884
Yes.
per share.
Mhm.
So, they are bringing in a lot of money and they're very profitable.
Right.
That's your bottom line
Exactly.
there.